Greetings and salutations. I'm America's R&B historian, Tyrone Dubois. And my friends, you're watching the one, the only, The Cindy Davis Show.
My name is Cindy Davis Evans of The Cindy Davis Show. I would like to give a shout out to Mr. Andre Pittman of Enthroned Records for making this interview possible. Now for my guest today, joining me all the way from Scotland, he is a former member of the popular 70s music group, the Commodores, now advocate for music global change. Welcome songwriter, producer, Grammy Award winner, Skyler Jett. Welcome. Hello.
How are you?
Hey, I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm better now. The power's back on.
Wow. You know what? We just went through that for 3 days, had no power here. I don't know if you knew about that in Texas.
Yeah. Oh God, I've been seeing this stuff in Texas. That's ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. So how are you and your wife, Cecilia, doing throughout this entire pandemic?
Oh, it's a house prison, right? It's been like house incarceration. But
And tell me about it.
we don't let it stop us though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I can write and
Uh-huh.
reach out to people and spread the
Yeah.
love and my
Yeah.
message and my movement, I'm straight, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if this is a new way, okay, right?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say welcome to the Cindy Davis Show, and I'm so glad to have you and so honored to have you on.
Thank
Now,
you.
your name's Skyler Jett.
Yeah,
Is that your birth name?
that's my name.
That's such a cool name.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
I believe my parents must have been on airplane glue or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they must have known something,
Yeah,
that you would be this wonderful producer, writer, and songwriter. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, I've been playing all my life because my family was music, right?
Hmm.
And I just kind of followed in, not all my brothers and sisters did, but I
Yeah.
followed in the footsteps, my mom, my grandmother, my aunt, and then
Yeah.
I had two uncles that were in the music business on the business side, right?
Hmm.
My brother was my mentor as well, but they you know my uncle managed Bobby Hutcherson, Woody Shaw, Michael Carvin, Donald
Hmm.
Byrd and the Blackbirds,
Hmm.
Gene Carn and Michael Henderson and
Yeah.
Norman Connors, and yeah, I came up in that. And then my other uncle used to be a promoter for Ike and Tina Turner, and
Oh,
so,
okay.
but I was raised by three women, and my
Yeah.
aunt was like head of the entertainment for Presidio, which is the army base in San Francisco, right? But
Hmm.
she used to work with like Bob Hope and Bing
Hmm.
Crosby and the Rat Pack and all them. So when I
Hmm.
was a kid, when she babysitted me. She took me to the clubs with her because we had it. That was the life, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they also had some gospel roots. Tell me about the gospel roots. You actually grew up singing in the gospel choir along with your mother, your aunt, and
I
your
started
grandmother?
singing, yeah, at 10 years old when I started getting on stage, and I was
Hmm.
my mom was a singer. My grandmother played a little piano, and my other aunt was singer. And
Uh-huh.
so, but they were in church. They sang with James Cleveland. So, you know,
Oh,
I,
really?
yeah. So when I was a kid, I had to go to church for that, and then, but then I went straight into jazz from there. I didn't go into
Hmm.
R&B until I was like 13, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I started playing in nightclubs when I was 13 years old. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was amazing. I was an alcoholic by 15, right? And
Really?
yeah. I mean, because
You You were
Huh?
an alcoholic?
I was an alcoholic at 15.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then by the time I, turned 21, when people start drinking alcohol, I was almost tired of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to watch people when they turn 21, they come to the club for the first time, and they always get so drunk they get sick
Uh-huh.
because it's their first time drinking that much at 21, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had already did that, so
Wow.
yeah,
So, okay, well, let's go back. Let's go back to your gospel roots though for just for a second here.
yeah.
How did that, or did that change you? How did that influence your music career in any way?
Well, because when I'm singing gospel music, you in a choir, you
Mm-hmm.
learn about harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I love that because you stay in your own lane
Yeah.
when you're singing your note, right?
Yeah.
And singing about the word and all that stuff like that. I write gospel music as well, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I went to jazz after that. So you got a
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old kid singing jazz, and then the R&B at 13, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went to rock, and then I went to pop. You know what I mean? And so I got to do all these records. I've been on over 2,500 records, right? And
So,
all
yeah.
styles, all
So, but
styles.
you got your first break with the Commodores.
Uh,
And how did that come about?
well, uh, well, it's a long story, but
Yeah.
I kind of I think of there's a lot of singers in between Oakland, California, and Tuskegee, Alabama, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be put in that place. I mean, it's not like they don't have singers already in Alabama. I don't know, but I auditioned, and hey, next thing I know, I was in China and flying around the world.
Tell me about that. Tell me about your story when you went to audition. You didn't think that you were going to get the
Oh,
part.
you heard about that story? Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Okay, okay. It's crazy,
Tell me about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
uh, I lost my job when I was living in LA. I'm
Mm-hmm.
driving a truck for a stationery company,
Mm-hmm.
and I wind up getting another job with this guy who was going out with the Marvin Gaye, and he wanted to give me a chance to go out with them. But what happened was this guy had lied to me and told me that he wrote this song, and I wrote the lyrics to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, we at the studio, and this white guy walks in and say, "Hey, man, I like the lyrics you wrote on my song." I said, "Well, this is Bugsy's song." He said, "No,
Yeah.
that's my song."
Yeah.
So, excuse me. What he did was when the Commodore's manager died,
Mm-hmm.
he told the new Commodore's manager who he knew about me,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to go audition for this play called Dream Girls, and
Oh,
I'm in Century City at that time with probably 200 singers in line, right?
yeah. So you
And
were auditioning to sing?
I was going to audition to sing in the play Dream Girls.
Oh,
But
okay.
this guy came by my house, and here's the crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
My girl had just left me, so I didn't have any more money. I got evicted, right? I was getting
Oh,
evicted the next day. They was
yeah.
coming by to get all the stuff, and this guy comes by my house, this new manager, and he says, "Play me some stuff." Now he don't even know I don't even have money for lights. The lights, for the lights in the house, right? They had
Yeah.
already turned them out. So he came by, and like I said, I was talking about cassettes. I played him a bunch of cassettes of songs that I've written and stuff like that. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, you know what? This is great. I'm gonna go back to my office in Century City." And I said, "Cool." I said, I'm on my way to Century City too. I'm about to go catch a bus out there. He said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm auditioning." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll drop you off." This is
Mm-hmm.
a true story. So he
Uh-huh.
dropped. Century City is probably about 40 miles from where I live at, right? So
Yeah.
he drops me off there. I'm there about 2 hours, and then he came back and he said,
Uh-huh.
"Man, I'm glad you're still in line, man. The Commodores want you to come to Alabama tonight."
Yeah.
So I'm tripping because I'm getting evicted the next day. What am I gonna do with all my furniture and all that stuff like that, right?
Right.
And my ex-girl, like, she had to come get her stuff out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, it had to be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when that happened.
Yeah.
And I said, well, man, and he's telling me in front of a bunch of these guys in line with me, right?
Yeah.
And they all looking at me like, what the hell you doing in this line if you can audition for the Commodores, right? So next thing you know, he says, here's $50, and I took a cab back to my house, and I'm tripping. I'm walking back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting evicted tomorrow, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So then back then, in wintertime, it gets dark early, right? So he comes up in my driveway in a limo, and he gets out and he comes to my house. He said, where's your stuff? He said, why don't you turn us a light, man? I say, I'm sorry, man. I don't think I could go.
Yeah.
And he said, what are you talking about, Skyler? This is a chance of a lifetime, right? They bought you a ticket to come to Alabama.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I said, but I got to pay rent. And I'm getting evicted. He said, how much is your rent? I said, it's $500, right? He gave me $500. He gave me $500 of what I'm paid the lady, and I jumped on a plane.
Yeah.
And when I got to Alabama, the Commodores, they owned the Holiday Inn where I was staying. So there was a bunch of people singing Commodore songs as I'm walking to my room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they must be here. The Commodores must be in the hotel somewhere, right?
Right.
The guy goes, that's okay. We're going to come pick you up tomorrow morning and take you over to the facility. So I went with about 7, maybe 8 guys that was auditioned. Here's the crazy thing. They knew all the Commodore songs and I didn't.
Right.
I just got out of rock band.
Yeah.
You ain't singing no licks and nothing like that, right? You sing something straight.
Right. Yeah. Commodores is R&B
and you gotta say,
love songs.
Come on. So then I get over there. I get over there and the guy comes out. He said, who wants to go first? I said, take one of these guys here. Take one of these guys.
Yeah.
And after about the 4th guy, he goes, well, hey, what's wrong, brother? Why you keep telling everybody else to go? I said, because I don't know the Commodore songs. And they all started laughing at me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is messed up, man. So
he said, you just knew that you was not going to get that part.
I'm only trying to say. So next thing you know, he gives me some lyrics, and he gave me a boom box, and I went in the room and I started learning the songs. And I saw Lionel wasn't singing no licks. He just singing straight.
Oh, okay.
When you listen to Lionel, listen to him. He ain't singing all the licks that everybody else is singing. With my buddy Patty Austin, she calls it vocal diarrhea.
Oh, okay.
With a whole bunch, you say too many licks. She said if they just sing the song straight, I might want to do
the song straight. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I did. So it comes to my time when all the other guys that sang, the guy, the Walter Orange, the drummer, who's the guy that's singing on Breakout. He came out, he's looking around, said, who's left? He said, this guy right here. And I had lyrics in my hand, right?
Yeah.
He said, brother, you ready to go? I said, I guess so. You know what I mean? He said, I tell you what, man, we hungry. We've been in there for a while. We gonna go get something to eat. We bring you something to eat. Why don't you stay here? And when we get back, we'll eat it and we'll audition you. I said, okay. So they sent all the other guys back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm in this big facility with stage and studio and everything in there, right? So the crazy thing, this is a true story. So you got the control room here, say the control room's here, right?
Yeah.
Well, the middle of the room is this big stage, right? And then on the other side of that is the vocal booth where I was. So I went to the vocal booth and I set my lyrics up on the stand, right? And when I did that, those guys had the talk back on, in the studio, but they didn't turn the talk back off. So I can hear them laughing at me. This dude don't even know the lyrics. This girl they laughing like trying to hide, all that. And then he said, what you want to sing? I said, man, I like this song, Sail On. It's kind of country. And they was impressed by that. And all them tunes that I would pick would be like Sail On and 3 times a lady. So
Yeah.
they said, go ahead, bro, start singing.
Yeah.
And so I started singing. And once I got to the chorus, the hook, they said, hold on, stop, brother, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Where you from? I said, I'm from Oakland, California, but I live in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And they say, sing the rest of the song. And all I know was 3 weeks later, they sent for me again back down to Alabama. And one of the guys, William King had a cousin in the band that was auditioning. He was one of those 7 guys that I was going against, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the crazy thing. So they had me try on Lionel's clothes. And these are like $5,000 outfits.
So
He
costumes.
just taller than me at that time, right?
Uh-huh.
So they start looking at this stuff, and next thing I know, I went home. 2 weeks later, come back. We're starting to rehearse for the tour. We're gonna take you on tour, and
Yeah.
we went to Asia.
Yeah. Wow. How did becoming a Commodore change your life? Because you were the lead singer for Lionel Richie after he left the group, correct?
That's right. I replaced
Yeah.
him.
You
Yeah.
replaced him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how did that change your life after that?
I don't know, going from playing from a couple thousand people to 18 to 20,000 people, right?
Wow. Wow. Were you
That's
stage fright? Were you stage fright?
the first night a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And then I got the hang of it after a while, because they was hollering, move, man, move. And I forgot to walk the whole stage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Like we rehearsed enough where you didn't have to look back at the band. So I knew all the stuff then. But
Yeah.
it was really wonderful because I lived with the bass player of the Commodores for 2 years, right? On
Mm-hmm.
his 27-acre ranch down there in Tuskegee, Alabama. And I didn't really know how big the Commodores was when I got there.
Really?
No, because I wasn't listening to that kind of music.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you were like thrust into this, so you just became like an instant huge rock star.
Well, I was doing rock for a while because I was living in Canada and all kind of places. But the trippy thing is like this one guy said that to me. He said, "You really." He came to the gig with a bunch of albums and he wanted everybody to sign them.
Yeah.
He said, "You really don't know how big the Commodores is, do you,
Yeah.
young man?" Because he said they like the Black Beatles, man. Did you know that?
Yeah. Exactly.
I didn't
Here
know.
you are in the midst of all of that greatness.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
it was really wonderful because his brother's older than me, and now Ronald and I, he's like my big brother now.
Oh, wow.
And he
Yeah.
just came to see me. He flew
Yeah.
all the way over to see me from Australia. That's a
Mhm.
long ways. And he came to hang out with me for 10 days, and we did some writing. Got a new song coming out. He wants to do a band with me. The bass player. I'm like his little brother. But
Yeah.
I used to have a radio show as well.
Yeah.
For 3 years when I was in the States, and I had him on my show, and he told the whole story of how they picked me. It was really wonderful. On air.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. So,
Yeah.
but you have worked with so many artists, legends, living and deceased as well. Who can you say that you were the most awe about that you worked with?
Stevie.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
I sang with Stevie on the United Negro College Fund
Mm-hmm.
for Lou Rawls, and Lou Rawls died 8 months later, right?
Mm.
But one night we played at the Kodak Theater, and I sang with all the biggest gospel stars. I'm the only male vocalist, 3 girls, right? And I sang with all the biggest gospel stars the first night. Donnie McClurkin, Shirley Caesar, and
Oh,
Yolanda Adams, and it was just it was off the chain, right? And then the next night I sang with the OJs and Stevie and God, there's so many was there. Chaka Khan, I sang background, but I didn't know that this was going to be happening. These kind of things happen in my life that I just get dropped into this beauty, right?
wow.
Because
Yeah.
one day I was out playing basketball. I had a basketball suit on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Patty Austin called me, and I forgot it was her birthday. I was really bad because she's a dear friend of mine, She called me up, and I was in Oakland. She's in San Francisco. That's just across the bridge, right? It's only 20 minutes across the bridge at this really swanky hotel and everything. So Patty calls me, get your butt over here. You better come over here. I say, Patty, I can't. I don't have the right the clothes on to get in that hotel. She said, Skyler, you come over here.
Yeah.
So I get over there. There's about 12 people in this room having dinner. And this guy, Ricky Minor, who is Whitney Houston and, oh man, everybody's MD, musical director, right?
Oh, yeah.
Usher and all of them. So we the only two black people in the room, right?
Oh.
So when I walked in, he goes, oh, that's Skyler right there? I'm looking at it like, who is this brother? Who is that? Not knowing that's Whitney Houston's musical director, right?
Yeah.
So he said, hey man, so we started hanging out, and he said, I know all the records you've been on, man. I'm like,
yeah.
How do you know me? Kind of, and anyway, so the next thing you go, hey, Skyler, I got $5,000 for you, man. Why don't you? I'm doing this little cable show. He didn't tell me what it was.
Yeah.
They called it a cable show, right?
Yeah.
I said, okay. So, but then he sent me 27 songs to learn, right? And I'm learning these songs, and it's the OJs, it's Stevie, and I'm thinking it's just gonna be some singers, some top 40 singers gonna be singing this with him, right? Not knowing it's really Stevie I'm singing with, because I would have charged him a little more,
Had you known.
And I know I'd be singing with all these, So the next thing you know, I go down and we rehearse in this big studio and stuff like that. And he said, Sky, I'd love to take you out and stuff like that, but I got to rehearse. God, what's her name? She's huge. I forget her name, but Usher. He said he got to do Usher at 12. We got off at 7. We rehearsed from 3 to 7. Then he had to go. I forget her name. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then, but we do the rehearsal, and then the next day we go into the venue. And it was a weekend that we played all the gospel in one day, and then all the R&B on the last night. And they set Lou Rawls out in the audience with a beautiful couch where everybody's around him. And I didn't find out till later that he was dying of cancer, right? It's the 25th anniversary of the United Negro College Fund.
I remember that show. Yeah.
You do?
I remember that show. Yeah.
It was all 2 days of music.
Yeah.
But here's the crazy. Yes, I did that show. I sang back. But here's the crazy thing. So usually we were coming from the backstage to come on stage. But Stevie came from the front of the building. And he's coming down the aisle, where all the chairs is at. It's empty in there because we rehearsing. He's coming down the aisle, and I said, oh, hell no. I know I'm not about to sing with Stevie. Yeah, God, you can come get me now. I'm sorry. Don't tell me. Because it was sick, right? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. So then he comes up on the stage, and they have this beautiful piano that they wheeled out there, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know Stevie was that tall,
How tall is he?
He's taller than me, for sure. And I'm 5'10". So he's tall. He's tall. Yeah.
Wow.
So then he comes out and he gets at the piano, and the first thing he starts warming up on is Bach.
Oh. He's
playing classical music first. I'm thinking,
that's a warm-up, and that's his warm-up.
And
how classic is that? Wow.
Oh my God. My mind was blown. I'm saying this dude, and then now that those 2 nights, whoever the artist was, they would sing their song. I sang with Smokey Norfolk and all they would sing one of their songs. Then they would sing one of Lou Rawls' songs to him. It was a tribute to him. Each group that did that, right? So Stevie come out, he does 2 songs, right? And but at the same time, he's warming up, and then on stage left is Eddie Levert from OJ's, right? Yeah. And he's walking all backwards, girl. Yeah, he got a towel on, and he's walking in backwards, and he's talking to his manager. And Stevie stops playing. Eddie, Eddie turns around. Hey, Stevie, what's happening? Stevie went back to playing Bach while talking to Eddie. How's the grandkids? Everybody all good? And he's still playing Bach.
Wow.
So I gotta say, he blew my mind with that one. You know, he blind to do that. Yeah, come on.
That's
right.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
And
you
then
know, Stevie, I hear he's gonna move to Africa,
Ghana.
as a matter of fact.
He's moving to Ghana. Yeah, my cousin lives in Ghana. He's excited like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of work back and forth from Ghana and Rwanda, right? Rwanda's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Africa, if you haven't been to Africa, you have to. Don't you have to go.
Yeah.
It's a trip because, some brothers and sisters, man, Skyler, can you tell all the brothers and sisters come over here, man? They got all that.
Really?
They got all that knowledge, man. Why don't they come back here and teach us a lot of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hurt my heart, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful over there, and the people are beautiful, and they ain't, it's, it don't look like what everybody think it do, right? Unless you get out in the bush somewhere like that. There's some beautiful, $2 million, $3 million homes in places, right?
Right.
Gated communities, all that. I know where Stevie's going to. I know where he's gonna be staying, right?
Yeah. It won't be in the bush,
It won't be in the bush, right?
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is, all the police are black, everybody, and they all, they all call each other the N-word, nothing like that, and it'll make you stop doing that once you go over there, right?
Wow.
Because all our brothers they smart, they intelligent, and they're smiling, even though they don't have all the things that we have. You know what I mean? They just got a good, beautiful spirit, right?
Yeah.
How do you have all that and so that's why I'm working in Africa, because all the minerals are there.
Yeah.
Gold, diamond, oil, bauxite. They're walking on this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why everybody wants to go there, but they don't want to go help the African people, though.
Yeah.
They want to go get their minerals, steal from the country, but they don't want to help them. And I'm trying to change that, right?
Oh, yeah. So you won a Grammy Award because you collaborated with Celine Dion.
I didn't collaborate. I sang background on the highest grossing theme song for a film of all time.
Titanic.
Yeah, and that was with Celine Dion.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have wrote it with her. Because I'd be sponsoring your show with her. I'd have to throw some money on you. Like, well,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd have enough money for that.
Yeah.
But and I want to tell you, it's a trip, because that one song, the writers of that song and Celine Dion, from that one song, they would have never have to work again in their lives.
Wow. I heard that was the highest grossing
theme song for a film of all time.
Of all time. That is amazing. But you got a Grammy because you did background vocals.
And here's the crazy thing. They don't give that out for the other records for background, right?
I didn't think so. Yeah.
No, they only give that out if it's record of the year. That was record of the year.
I see.
And when they called me, and said, "You Skyler Jett?" I said, "Yeah. We're going to send you a Grammy embossed award for singing on record of the year." And what's your address? I was like, I was so excited.
You couldn't get it out.
I couldn't get it out, girl. I was going to the mailbox every 15 minutes or something, right? So it was crazy. But the beautiful thing is, like, that's one of those songs where you wouldn't, when the guy called me up, Walter Afanasieff, when he called me over to his house to do this song, I sang with about probably 7 background singers in the Bay Area. We were the high echelon of the clique of doing records, right? And so the next thing you know, that's why he called us, right? So, but when we get over to the house, none of us know why we there. He didn't tell us. He says, Skyler, come on, I'm gonna pay you triple scale today. That's okay, right? But it was on a Sunday, and I told him I'm gonna have a fight with him because don't mess with me when I'm watching the Raiders. You know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah,
You don't
I
want to.
know that your
You,
team.
you don't
Okay.
want to call me. You don't want to call me with that 3 hours or whatever. So he called me. I said, dude, I told you not to call me. He said, no, get over here, Skyler. I got a session for you. I'm gonna pay you three. So I got there, and all my friends are there, and we're like, what's going on, right? So he said, come on in the control room, and we get in the control room, and he goes, I got a call from Celine, and James Horner and Will Jennings wrote this song that they want to try on James Cameron, who was the director of the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they just because James Cameron really didn't like a lot of vocals in his film,
Mm-hmm.
but James Horner, his musical supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to try it on him anyway.
Ah,
And so
okay.
they called Celine over, and Celine sang the song, and it was beautiful, right? And then they played it for James Cameron, and
Mm-hmm.
James Cameron says, "I not only love it, I wanted to weave all through the movie,
Wow.
right?"
Wow. Yeah.
And so, man, I start all of a sudden when it came out, I started getting checks from Oprah Winfrey and the American Music Awards and the Grammys and the Oscars, and
Did you
they
say
was using
check?
checks
Oh, wow.
because they was using it on radio, on TV.
Oh, I see.
So
Really?
yeah, so they pay you, got to pay you again, right? So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
different status. When it goes gold,
Yeah.
they got to pay you, and then when it
Mm-hmm.
go platinum, they got to pay you again. You
I
see what I'm saying?
see. I see.
And
Wow.
but this is something that's never happened in the history of music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you remember, James Cameron wanted it in his film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not on the one in his film.
Yeah.
Celine goes, "Hey guys, I'm doing my song, my album right now. Can I put that on my album as well?" I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Why not?" So that's
Mm-hmm.
when she called Walter and
Mm.
told Walter, "I want backgrounds on me, on mine," and
Yeah.
I got the call, right?
Yeah.
But I got to tell you something. So when Walter gathered us all in the room, he goes, "Hey man, they try to do this damn movie again, Titanic." He said it just like that, not knowing,
It would be
right?
number
Because
one.
he wrote all the music mostly for Mariah Carey, right?
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how much money he made off of that for 5, 6 albums. Him
Oh
making
my.
all the money off the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Tom Jones with him. I did Elton John with him. I did all kind of people. I started uh, doing with him. Some major people, right? And
Wow.
anyway, so we're thinking, okay, it's out
Yeah.
now. This has never happened in the history of music.
Uh-huh.
So when it came out on the Titanic movie,
Mm-hmm.
it went up to number one.
Mm.
But Celine started here and moved all the way up under here
Mm-hmm.
and then flipped. So the same song was number one and number two at the same time. That's never happened before.
Wow, that's
One
history.
with backgrounds, one without.
That is amazing. Tell me about your fashion style. Where do you get your fashion style from?
Oh, I'm not on. Well, you know what? I'm not on here today, but I love fashion.
Yeah.
I actually own 2 shares. I own of a fashion industry, right? Out of Ireland, and it's really wonderful. I'll send you something on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But my wife is a stage and costume designer,
Oh,
so
okay.
she makes all my clothes and all that stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
It's really cool, right? And all of that,
You you got some cool rags, bro.
I love drapes.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
love drapey clothes,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
that's my style, stuff like that. But
Yeah, we've been
know,
checking out your style, my husband and I. We was like, oh, you got a cool style.
I had another friend tell me that. It's like I don't. I just like different, Just
Yeah, yeah.
my uncle used to say that to me. Say he said, Skyler, what they wearing tonight?
Yeah.
I said, oh man, they gonna be in some casual. He said, put on a suit.
Mm.
And every time I used to do that, somebody would go, who was that dude? Right?
See,
Or
'cause
if they put on a
out.
suit, I go put on some African, just do the
Do the
opposite.
opposite, so you stand out. Yeah.
You know, my mom said, she said, if you ever want to get attention, zig when they zag.
Oh, your mother was full of wisdom.
I'm telling you, yeah,
Wow.
it's really beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
producing this young guy in Copenhagen,
Mm-hmm.
Scandinavia, right? And I just wrote a song that I'm dedicating to the the arts of dance, all styles of arts. You know what I mean? Because it's not just musicians that's out of work;
Mm-hmm.
dancers are too. And
Yeah.
and if
It's
you think about
art.
if you think about all the people that work a regular job but they go dance at night,
Mm-hmm.
that's a release for them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wrote a song and I'm dedicating to all the dancers. I know what they're going through because we going through it too as musicians, right? And
Yeah.
it turned out to be really beautiful. I stole an idea from Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yeah.
She had Pharrell on her show. I don't know if you saw that show. When he had that tune Happy Hour, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when he came on the show, she said, I want to show you something. And she showed him all these people around the world with their phones dancing to Happy.
Oh,
And the brothers just start crying, you know what I mean?
wow.
It was emotional for him to see all these people.
On
So
one accord doing this. Yeah.
so I did the same thing
Ah.
with my new song, Dance Like I'm Losing My Mind, right?
Okay.
And so what I'm doing is I got dancers from all over. I got like 7 or 8 countries where people's dancing to my song, and I'm about to release it, right? And I kind of want to put it with some other businesses, and we all get involved to give this to dancers and stuff like that. And I got some company that I'm with. We make designer jean jackets, which are we paint the picture on the jacket and all stuff like that. I got one to Dolly Parton and stuff like that actually. But the trippy thing is we're going to give away a $2,000 jacket that's custom made, and then I have shares in an event company in Belfast, Ireland, and we do magazines, really beautiful magazines. So I'm going to have the winner in there too, and then try to get them on some radio shows and stuff like that. But I'm gonna send you the song. The songs turned out to be off the chain, and I was inspired because I wrote a song. My wife was doing a film about natural childbirth, but they do it in Russia. They're in the Black Sea. There's a part in the Black Sea where the water's warm, and women go in there and have natural childbirth, right? So I wrote this classical song why these women are giving birth. And 17 years later, I get this idea. What if I do a Donna Summers beat on that with that classical? Because she used to use a lot of strings in her.
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I did a new song like that, but then I put some funk in it too, right?
What song did you use from Donna Summer?
I didn't. I used the idea.
Oh, you just used the idea. Okay.
I used the idea
from the strings.
of doing a disco beat with that string.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did a funk part on there too, right?
Okay.
And it really came out nice. And so I'm on TV with it. I'm releasing it this weekend in London.
Oh.
But I want to get it to some radio stations to talk about the competition, because my buddy, a friend of mine, he goes, Skyler, what? Okay, I know you got dancers in there, but what if you just had average people in there that not really dancers, and they all dance to the song, and they can win something? And then I said, okay, let me do. I'll give them a jacket, and I'll get them in a popular European magazine and stuff like that.
Tell me about Music for Global Change.
Okay, so the first song that I ever wrote was around consciousness, was around 1984 when I was living with Ronald, right? And we wrote this song with a doctor, a nutritional doctor, and we decided to give the money away from the proceeds of it to every 4th child in a family to help with their college
That's wonderful.
It really was. And you know, I didn't, you know, I was in my 20s then. I didn't know how,
Really?
yeah, I didn't know how that was going to work. Right. And it
Mm-hmm.
was so cool because the night that we did this song, they played it simultaneously on every radio station in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And really beautiful. I mean, every radio station was playing our song at the same time. I mean, how cool is that? In the whole state? That's
No,
pretty
wow.
cool, right?
That is amazing.
So I'm getting on the plane and I got all these posters they gave me and all kind of pins and stuff. And I'm getting on and I got on the plane and people stood up and gave me a standing ovation.
Amazing.
Because I didn't see it on TV. I was behind the camera, right?
So you're like, where's all this standing ovation coming
Yeah, what's
from?
this? We saw you on TV last night. Really wonderful what you gave for Alabama, and the money for the kids. It's really wonderful. So right then, I got to see how beautiful to do something like that was, right?
Yeah.
And then, and then, I don't know if Audrey had told you that I helped Sly Stone come back to the stage, right?
No, didn't tell me that.
I spent 7 years to bring Sly Stone back to the stage,
Oh, wow.
and me and his sister put a band together and brought him back for 13 gigs. So I
Yeah.
toured with Sly. I made every call. It took me
Oh,
7 years to make that happen, right?
yeah.
And that was in 2007, and I toured with him, you know, and so after that, but I took a look at something that was really cool because if you look at the songs in the early 60s, early 70s, those songs were only 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see a lot of these songs now, 5, 6 minutes. And if you look at One Nation Under a Groove, that's like 17 minutes. You
And
know,
look, Isaac Hayes also did long intros and long
yeah,
music as well.
yeah. See, and so the next thing you know, I start listening to his lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm everyday people and sing
Mm.
a simple song and I want to take you higher.
Beautiful social songs. Yeah.
Hot fun in the summertime.
Yeah.
So it was all around positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
said, here it is again. You know, now what did it to me was all the young brothers and sisters killing each other.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wrote a song called Peace is the Answer. And it's about, if you want to impress me, put the gun down instead of picking it up.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Positive.
Right. And I wrote that song and it's going in a friend of mine's movie. She's a CNN hero. But
Oh.
the trippy thing is, uh, uh, I wrote a song about the environment
Mm-hmm.
called Think Green, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and so once that happened, these songs just started happening. I wrote a song for women's empowerment, for
Mm-hmm.
breast cancer survivors, the homeless, you
Yeah.
know, and I just, these songs kept going.
Yeah.
And so I created, my wife and I and a friend, Music for Global Change.
Let's talk about the lyrics. What do you think about today's lyrics, especially in the rap music world? Um, did that also inspire you to write positive lyrics?
Well, I saw some of those lyrics, even though they're in the street and stuff like that, all the cussing,
Yeah,
all the denigrating our own people, all that stuff like that. I
it's
couldn't do it.
toxic.
No, I
It's
couldn't do it.
toxic.
Right. And
Yeah,
so I wanted to do something with Music for Global Change where I go out and teach young people how to
yeah.
write lyrics that heal, educate, and solve problems.
Mm,
You can't talk about yourself, your personal self. Talk
yeah,
about how we can help each other.
yeah.
And those are the lyrics that I write, right?
Right.
And you know, lo and behold, I start doing speaking engagements and going to talk to young people, and it's
Mhm,
really wonderful when they embrace it and adopt it. You know what I mean?
mhm.
When they go, "Wow, that was cool." You know what? That was cool. Not writing about myself. I
Yeah.
say, you know what? I want everybody to pick an issue or
Mhm,
something that they would love to change.
mhm,
Something they love to change in the world for everybody, right?
mhm.
Go write a melody, write the lyrics to it. It could be any instrument, could
Yeah,
be any kind of music, but the
yeah.
lyrics is about, I say, do me a favor, Do one once a month till it catches on, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I start having young people call me, Skyler, thank you so much. I don't even write them kind of songs anymore.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all my friends love what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So with Music for Global Change is what I want to do is I want to open it up for everybody.
Yeah.
I want to introduce people from different countries, and I'm doing it now. Introduce people from different countries and put them together to write.
Yeah.
Right? But I asked them to write lyrics that is going to help other people.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. I want to comment on your vocals. You have a unique, distinctive vocal style, a beautiful voice. Who was your musical influences when you were growing up or along the way?
It's my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother.
Yeah.
Right? I listened to them, but that was gospel music. But what really turned me and made me start feeling good about what I'm doing was Marvin Gaye. These are my heroes in the social conscious world.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye, John Lennon, Bob Marley, Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah.
Those are my conscious. They're my mentors.
Yeah.
Right? Because they wrote love songs forever, but it wasn't until they started writing songs that was conscious, right?
Yeah.
If you ever get to see the Marvin Gaye story, I love the part where Berry Gordy says to him, "What record you gonna do now?" He says, "Man, this Vietnam War it's on my mind too much. I got to write about what's going on." That's where that title came from.
What's going on? And it's still relevant today.
46 years later.
Yes. Yes.
That album is still bigger than all the love songs that he did. Heard It Through the Grapevine, all them other songs, Tammy Terrell, whatever. And if you look at it with the Beatles, right? Paul was the good looking one, right?
Yeah.
But John Lennon was writing a lot of that stuff. And it wasn't until he did Imagine that people go, oh,
Imagine world. Yes.
Imagine Peace, right?
Yes.
When he wrote that song, boom. Then you had the Woodstock. These kids don't know that was one of the biggest conscious vibe festivals ever, Woodstock, right? And I encourage every young people to go watch Woodstock because they were singing about stopping the war. And it actually helped stop the Vietnam War. The young people stopped the Vietnam War, right?
Yes, yes, they did.
And we need that kind of revolution again.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. When Bob Marley got out there, if you could, his songs wasn't about himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were about the struggle. I shot the sheriff and One Love and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and Curtis Mayfield.
Yes.
It was about the struggle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I'm doing is creating the genre for it. There's never been a genre for social conscious music. So you can go.
Oh, I see.
I'm creating a genre. It's already there. I'm just making a hub for it where everybody can come together and write. And I'm going to throw festivals for this to take out people that write social conscious music. My festival is going to be out of this world because, everybody coming to hold on to each other, each other, and dance.
Yeah. Show the love.
You don't really need no security for that.
Yeah, that's right. Love. Well, I tell you, this has been such a wonderful time spending with you, talking and keep doing what you're doing. And keep spreading the love and the peace with your music. I think you're doing a beautiful thing. And thank you for all of your contributions.
I feel blessed with no stress. Thank you.
Blessed with no stress, and you ain't taking none of the devil's mess, right?
Oh, you got wait a minute.
Like I said, keep doing what you're doing, and you are a positive influence. And I thank God for you, your wife, and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Until next time, God bless.
Much love.